I swear we usually don't eat this much chicken in a week. Hey, my name is Megan. I am a longtime food editor, and this year I am working to cut my family's food spending in half. This week, we're going to talk about meal planning. And if you're rolling your eyes, if you're letting out a deep sigh, you are not alone. I have been giving advice about meal planning for over 15 years. I wrote about it when I was a full-time editor at thekitchen.com. We talked a lot about it on the podcast that I hosted, Didn't I Just Feed You? Didn't I Just Feed You even had a meal planning course that you could take, because it is the single most helpful thing that you can do to ease the mental load of feeding a family. It can help save you money, which is our primary goal this year. It can reduce food waste, and it's just all around a really great habit to form however you can do it. I'm not here to try and convince you that you need to meal plan. What I am going to do is show you a week of my own meal planning, including the dinners that I cooked for my family or didn't cook. Then on the newsletter at megansblonde.substack.com, I am talking through the routine and the system that works best for me and that I think anyone can start right now, immediately, like today, and begin having more control over their food spending, reducing waste, having less mental load. And it is a habit that you can implement in just like 15 to 25 minutes a week, and it's really helpful. But my intention was to show you a perfectly planned and executed meal planning week. But of course, Mercury's in retrograde, life is lifing, and that is not what happened. So I'm walking you through Thursday to Thursday how I meal plan and feed my family. And you can find this really great little meal planning template, as well as my routine and my top 4 tips for saving money with meal planning over on the newsletter. I do share my meal plan in real time over on Substack in the chat, usually on Saturday or Sunday. Just for funsies, here's what I planned for the week. Broccoli cheddar soup, which is both a recipe test for the newsletter and one of our favorite dinners. Roast chicken, potatoes, and carrots. Beef gyro bowls. Crispy chicken sammies. Honey, garlic, chicken, and rice. Sausage rolls. Without further ado, let's get into the week that was. This is not where your meal plan has to start, but it is where my meal plan starts. On Thursday afternoons, I do a little bit of a fridge tidy and I make note of anything that I need to use up, anything that we're out of, and I start building a use up and a need to refill list. The use up section will be part of how I build my meal plan. So today I'm just putting a couple things away, and then I'm going to check the produce drawer. There's some basil that is not looking great. It's left over from a recipe test, so I am going to compost this and toss the clamshells. There's some grapes that the kids didn't finish up and they're like now brown and shrivelly. I'm going to get rid of. But then I'm also going to look at things like, oh, there's 2 heads of romaine need to get used up, the mini peppers that need to get used up, two avocados, and some cherry tomatoes. So I'm going to incorporate those into next week's meal plan so that they don't go to waste. And then I'm also going to make note of the leftovers that we need to eat up over the weekend. And I'll just do a quick look in the pantry, especially looking at things like potatoes or pasta that might need to get eaten up. I usually find time on Friday afternoons or evenings to actually meal plan. And I say usually because life happens and some weeks I don't get to planning until Saturday or Sunday. But if I plan on Fridays, that allows me to stretch my shopping over the weekend, especially if I want to go to more than one grocery store or I want to go to the farmer's market. Creating my plan and making my grocery list on Friday afternoons sets me up for success over the weekend and makes meal planning and grocery shopping feel less like a huge task and more like a small task broken up into 5 to 10 minute increments over the weekend. So it's not taking up my whole weekend. I can get to it when I'm ready to. But before I actually plan my meals, I do take a look at my planner, our shared family calendar. This lets me know, will my husband be home? So am I cooking for 3 or am I cooking for 4? Do we have any after school activities or even during the school day activities that might set the tone for our evening? I personally also look at my upcoming work assignments because I'm often testing recipes or photographing recipes. If there's anything that I can turn into dinner or lunch fodder for the week, I will. And even though those things are shopped for and paid for separately, I will sometimes incorporate buying those ingredients into my regular grocery shopping, so it saves me time and energy to plan for next week ahead on Fridays. Once I look at our calendar and my planner for the week, I know how many meals I actually need to plan on cooking, and I can make smart choices about the meals that we might eat out and plan and budget for those as well. One of my biggest tips is that when you sit down to meal plan, you don't bring 10 cookbooks, open up 6 web pages. Go to 1 or 2 sources for inspiration. Recently, I've been relying a lot on my friends on Substack. For example, my friend Maggie Hoffman is often sharing what she actually cooked for dinner, as well as tons of dinner ideas. And sometimes that's all I need to get started. And then I might go look at some of the websites I love for recipes or pull up cookbooks that I know have those recipes in them. And maybe it seems a little silly, but I do bribe myself into meal planning by either having a fun drink or a little treat. Today it's some chocolate chip cookies. Sometimes it's a soda. Sometimes I make myself a cup of tea. It doesn't have to be an expensive treat to make the habit feel enjoyable. I have my meal plan in 3 places because I am insane. I have a digital meal plan in my notes app that my husband also has access to. I have it in my meal planning, food budgeting journal, and then also in my work planner. Do I think you should have it in 3 places? No. Find one place that is easy and accessible for you, and maybe accessible for anyone who shares the workload of cooking, shopping, and feeding your family. Lastly, while I'm here, I make my grocery list. It just makes the most sense to write down what we need while I'm thinking of the meals that I'm cooking instead of separating those 2 tasks. And then when I have a free 30 minutes or 45 minutes over the weekend and I can pop to the grocery store, I'm ready to go. I could not have planned the placement of the Aldi sign any better if I tried. It's Sunday morning, it's about 10 o'clock. I am finally grocery shopping. I am out a little later than I intended to be because we had neighborhood friends spend the night, and so I made breakfast from the freezer and pantry staples. I even had to pull out those little fruit cups because we didn't have any fresh fruit in the house. This morning, I'm headed to Aldi, Publix, and Walmart. Typically, I just do a Publix run, but I'm shopping for a friend who just needs some help with grocery shopping right now. And I also have a little bit of a theory that I'm working on, that if I gave myself a small budget to buy primarily snacks at Aldi, I could save money on my grocery shop at Publix. So I'm trying that out this morning, and I will report back after all of my grocery stops. So just like as an example, $3.79 for regular Doritos, $1.69 for the Aldi brand. Publix is my second stop. I sometimes dislike how much I love Publix because I know that it is more expensive than other grocery stores, but there are a few specific things that I can only get at Publix. Also, I did overspend a little bit at Aldi because I remembered that I wanted to put some frozen pizzas in our freezer in order to avoid doing like Domino's on a late night where everybody's craving it or I'm too overwhelmed to cook. And I also bought a couple of things that were on my Publix list, like brioche buns and navel oranges at Aldi, because the price was a little bit better than it will be here. So we have about $160 to spend at Publix. 2 buy one get ones that I'm keeping my eye on at Publix and may influence my meal plan. I had sausage rolls on the meal plan as a back burner dinner, aka something I could throw together really quickly on a night when we just needed like comfort food or something really easy. But Bear's lightly breaded chicken nuggets are on a buy one get one. If they still have them in stock, I'm going to buy 2 bags so that we could do like a riff on Trader Joe's orange chicken for a dinner this week, or it could be the back burner dinner, and then also just to have extra in the freezer. Barilla pasta is on BOGO as well, and so I may stock up on that, and that might change. I don't know if I stock up on some freezer veggies like edamame, broccoli, stir fry veg that I just need a refill of this week. I might wait until next week to do that. Hello again. I did not do a good job of wrapping out our grocery shopping experience. I made one last stop at Walmart where I didn't purchase any food, just toilet paper and trash bags. My total spent on groceries today, which is breakfast, lunches, and about 7 dinners, was $217. That was $175 at Publix, where I did take advantage of a lot of BOGO deals and do some stocking of my freezer and pantry. And then, oh, I'm gonna do these in 2 sets. And then $41 at Aldi, where I primarily bought snacks, some navel oranges, and some brioche buns. And now I'm doing the teeniest bit of meal prep. Last night's chicken is becoming stock over here in this pot with some wingtips that were in the freezer to make it really rich. And then I'm going to hard boil some eggs for breakfast and snacks for everyone for the week. Normally I don't do any meal prep, but I'm taking advantage of having a free Sunday afternoon. I'll make enough stock for the freezer and for the broccoli cheddar soup that we're having this week. Dinner is very quick and low effort. My husband's getting ready to leave. There's our chicken stock just hanging out in the background. But it's this, we call it like a faux fast food sandwich. I use the Kirkland Signature chicken patties that were in the freezer. We had like a quarter of a bag of French fries left, and then everything goes on buns. But my husband and I were having this interesting conversation about whether fast food chicken sandwiches have cheese on them or not. I put cheese on mine for tonight, but everyone else in my family opts to not have the cheese. I'm recording right now. Trying to make dinner easy on myself tonight. So one of my objectives is to only dirty a sheet pan and a pot for rice. So we're using these Bear lightly breaded chicken nuggets to make like a riff on a Trader Joe's orange chicken. Not a riff, I mean, I have a leftover sauce from a bag of Trader Joe's orange chicken. And I'm either gonna throw some broccoli or some edamame on the sheet pan to be like the veg for dinner, and then I'm gonna make a pot of rice. Do you want to see the weird way that I make rice? First step for the rice is I'm putting a kettle on to come to a boil. Water, and then I'm putting a 4-quart pot that has a lid on like medium high heat, and I'm gonna rinse 2 cups of rice. 2 teaspoons of oil. You could do a little more if you want to, but I'm also going to finish it with butter. And then I put the rice in, and you don't have to like stir it a lot, but you're trying to get the rice hot before you put in the boiling water. You're gonna smell it. It starts to smell kind of like rice is smelling toasty. We are gonna measure 3 cups of water. There's 2 cups of rice in here, 3 cups of boiling water. You're gonna add the boiling water carefully because it's gonna sputtle up. And then give it like literally 1 round of stirring. Put the lid on, reduce the heat to low, and set a 15-minute timer. Okay, when the timer goes off, you're gonna like add a bunch of salt or whatever seasoning you want to do. I like, and this is just such a weird, like from my own upbringing, just like a teaspoon of butter. I know. And then kind of like fluff it, get the salt distributed, get the butter distributed. If you bit into it right now, it would feel like the tiniest bit underdone because after the seasoning, kind of shake it down to be even, maybe like a little more salt. Then you're gonna put the lid on it, turn the heat off, and let it sit for 5 more minutes.
Where I should be. So like this.
It's Tuesday, and my original dinner plan was to do another test of this broccoli cheddar soup that hopefully is coming to the newsletter next week. But I worked a little bit late. My son needed a lot of homework help, and so we are pivoting. We're gonna use up the leftover roast chicken from Saturday or Sunday, some cheese, and have chicken quesadillas and microwave steamed green beans. A back burner dinner, if you will. Sazon seasoning from Louisa. It's so good. See how this avocado is inside that's been in the fridge for a while? Oh, it's not too bad actually. I mash it with some Greek yogurt and some homemade hot sauce to make sort of like a sauce dip situation. Hey guys, dinner's ready. This one's yours. Do you want some of this avocado sauce? Do you want
Thank you.
avocado?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. Hi, I'm checking in from Wednesday night, in which the entirety of my week has been changed by my husband's work schedule. We were supposed to have friends over for dinner on Friday night, and instead he will be working and he'll be coming home Saturday instead of Thursday night. So instead of making broccoli cheddar soup, all of the ingredients of which are pretty shelf stable, I am roasting some chicken thighs that I had pulled to be part of Friday night dinner, and roasting some carrots, and and some chickpeas, and we're gonna eat those with some naan and hummus and call it dinner. This is one of my favorite, just like everything seasonings, but especially for like roasted veg. It is from a brand out of Atlanta called Beautiful Briny Sea, and it has cayenne garlic, there's a little bit of orange, a little bit of smoked paprika in here, chipotle, so good. I didn't use it to season the chicken, just the veg. And it's Thursday. The kids are eating Domino's, which was not the plan. They were gonna eat leftovers. I don't even have time to pop on my mic, but I'm just keeping it really real. I am headed to a fundraising dinner for my favorite nonprofit here in Chattanooga. We'll take some videos. We'll wrap things up after Thursday. Here's what I actually cooked. Roast chicken with potatoes and broccoli, crispy chicken sandwiches, Trader Joe's inspired orange chicken with edamame and rice, chicken quesadillas with avocado sauce and green beans, roasted chicken thighs, chickpeas, and hummus, which was kind of a riff on the Euro Bowl that we were supposed to have for dinner with friends. But alas, we had to move those dinner plans to another week. It's not lost on me that I specifically bought freezer pizzas to avoid ordering Domino's, but sometimes the work and the week gets crunchy, and on Thursday night, I really did not have time to preheat the oven, bake pizzas, and get myself ready to go to the Chattery's dinner. And so we had Domino's, we have Domino's leftovers in the fridge, we have chicken leftovers to eat up, rice leftovers to eat up, and all the ingredients for the broccoli cheddar soup. So I may try to not do a big grocery shop this coming week to balance out my little bit of overspending last week and use up the things that I bought before we go on our spring break vacation. And now I have some meals that I can kick into next week, including that broccoli cheddar soup, which I hope will be here on the channel next week. So I do hope that you'll subscribe. There are a ton of really great food budgeting tools over on meganswan.substack.com. So if you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe over there. I'd love for you to subscribe here on the channel so you don't miss a thing. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next week.